This is APN, Daily News brought to you by Arakan Press Network. Today, Saturday, 5th of November 2016, I am Sajid Salam. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. APN News headlines are: Myanmar freedom of speech under threat amid Arakan violence monitors. Suu Kyi vows to resolve ethnic conflict as Myanmar seeks stable development. Human rights monitors have raised concern about press freedom in Myanmar after a journalist at an English language newspaper said she was fired following government criticism of her reporting of allegation of rape by soldiers. Violence in the north of troubled Arakan state, which began with deadly attacks on border police posts on October 9, has sparked the biggest crisis of de facto Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi's 7 months in power. Troops poured into the region after the attacks, which the government says were carried out by military Rohingya Muslims with links to militant Islamists overseas. The military operation has sharpened the tension between Suu Kyi's civilian administration and the army, which ruled the country for decades and retained key powers, including control of ministries responsible of security. The Committee to Protect Journalists (CPJ) said reporters trying to cover the unrest in Arakan faced obstruction and harassment. Authorities have not allowed foreign journalists to visit the area, and the international media was not invited to travel with senior diplomat who visited this week, even as state media obtained full access. Reports of sexual assault. Zote, the spokesman for President Tin Cho, has said reports of sexual violence, extrajudicial killings, and arbitrary arrest by soldiers are being fabricated by people enforced with the insurgent. The CPJ raised particular concern over the response of Zote. 2 days later, Mark Grigor was told by the newspaper's senior management that she was being fired for damaging the paper's reputation, she told Reuters on Friday. It is extremely concerning and unacceptable that representatives of the democratically elected government would use social media and bullying tactics to suppress stories about important issues like gender-based violence in conflict, said Mark Grigor. Zote, a former soldier and holdover from the previous military aligned administration, said the government had nothing to hide. "I am really sorry to hear about the sacking of Myanmar Times reporter," he told Reuters. "Actually, we did not make any personal attack on her, but just highlighted she did not reach other reliable sources, and it led to a one-sided news article based on unreliable sources." The Myanmar Times did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The paper has not carried any reports on the Arakan crisis since Monday. Phil Robertson, deputy director of Human Rights Watch in Asia, said the case marked a new low for the government. Rather than trying to shut down reports that it doesn't like, the government should respect press freedom and permit journalists to do their job by investigating what is really happening on the ground, said Robertson. Suu Kyi's government should assert civilian control over its security forces, Sean Crispin, CPJ's senior Southeast Asia representative, said in a statement. "The best way to prove or disprove allegation of right abuse," says, "is to allow independent media to prove the accusation." Ethnic tensions. The violence in recent weeks is the most serious to hit Arakan since hundreds were killed in a communal clashes in 2012. Myanmar's 1.1 million Rohingya Muslims are denied citizenship, with many majority Buddhists regarding them as illegal immigrants from neighboring Bangladesh and face several travel restrictions. They form the majority in northern Rakhine. In a separate case relating to the conflict, a staffer in the ruling party was charged on Friday under the country's controversial telecommunication law for criticizing the army's handling of unrest. Myoyan Naung Thing, employed as a researcher in Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy, had been detained on Thursday. Party's Central Executive Committee member Ning Wing told Reuters. Myoyan Naung Thing wrote on Facebook that Commander-in-Chief Myo Lang's negligence was to blame for the 9th October attack and that he should stand down. Human rights advocates have said they were troubled by a broadly worded clauses of the law that prohibit use of the telecoms network to extort, threaten, obstruct, defame, disturb, inappropriately influence or intimidate. Arrest of social media users whose posts are deemed distasteful have continued under Suu Kyi's government. Myanmar leader Aung San Suu Kyi pledged to resolve ethnic conflict Friday, including the tension in Arakan state, and called for investment for Japanese companies for stable development. All the incidents that have been taken place in Rakhine will be examined, and that will be done in accordance with our laws and regulation. We will find out what really happened, and then action will be taken accordingly in line with the rule of law through due process measures, Suu Kyi told a press conference in Tokyo. My country is very complex. We are still not at peace. There is still armed conflict between various armed groups in our country. We must have peace in order that our development may be stable and sustainable, Suu Kyi told Japanese business leaders at a separate event earlier in the day. This is for